What is going on, everyone? I hope you're doing great. As I'm creating this video, we're in 2022. We're at the very end of 2022. I'll tell you right now, inflation is high, housing costs have gone up, so more and more buyers are thinking of purchasing a property with a family member or a friend. Yes, some people are thinking of pooling money together to make home ownership more affordable or more within reach. So if that's you, listen up. I'm going to give you some tips here because there are risks involved, right? There are risks involved if you want to try to purchase a property with someone else. I'll give you a few tips in this video to hopefully make your life a little bit easier should you elect to go down that path. My name is Stephen Kotobash, and I'm a realtor located in the northern Atlanta area, and I get to help people buy and sell houses every day. So if you are one of those people that falls into the category of, that's a lot of money to try to put down, right? How am I going to come up with a down payment? Or how am I going to make the monthly payment every month on a new mortgage? More and more people are running into those same questions and those same issues today. So they're starting to pool money together and buying a property with a family member or a friend. And there are some risks involved there. Home ownership is something that we all strive to achieve, right? Most of us, I should say. I shouldn't say all, but most of us strive to achieve home ownership. And for some, it's a little tougher than others. And what we're seeing right now here at the end of 2022, people are going about it through unconventional ways to reach that goal. So let me tell you one tip here, one thing to watch out for is budget. Okay, when you're talking to whoever it is, as family member or friend, finalize and stick to a budget. Put a smart budget together. Even though you might be combining two sources of income or three sources of income or whatever it is, make sure that you're still smart about your budget. I would put it into some kind of document. I'm not saying that it has to be a formal contract where you get a lawyer to help you sign off on it or anything like that, but put something together on paper, put it down on paper that you all can agree on. Because if you sit down together at the very beginning of the process and agree on a budget, then no one gets their feelings hurt later down the road, because inevitably one of you might see this great house down the road, and guess what? It might be 15-20% above budget, and that's when you, as a group or a team, you come back together and say, hey, look, here's what we agreed on. We're going to stick to this budget. So come up with a budget, agree on it at the very beginning, and put it in writing so that you all will not have some argument or someone doesn't get their feelings hurt down the road. Hey there, hit pause just a second for me and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, and it helps me and it supports my channel. Come on. Tip number 2, from the very beginning, make sure that you all establish how the property will be titled. What do I mean by this? You might have one of the members of the party that will put down more money, or maybe they're going to pay a little bit more each month than the other owners. A great idea is to establish what is called a tenancy in common agreement. So with a tenancy in common agreement, you can have one owner that would own majority of the property, and then the other 2, 3, or whatever the number is, they own another percentage of the property. So for example, you could establish a tenancy in common agreement that says, hey, I've got one owner that's going to own 40% of the property, and then we've got 3 other owners, for example, and they will each own 20%. But make sure that you figure that out in the beginning so that you guys can all figure out how the property will be titled. Tip number 3, there are expenses that go along with owning a property, right? There are maintenance expenses, there's homeowners insurance, there are taxes and things like that. So once again, at the very beginning, you need to sit down and you need to detail out who is responsible for what and who is responsible for what portion of those expenses. Now, I know as you're watching this video, you might be thinking, oh, well, we've really got to sit down and agree on a lot of things, right? Yes, there is a lot that needs to be talked about and discussed because property ownership can get convoluted and a little complex if you're thinking about bringing in a second party or a third party. So make sure that you think all this through at the very beginning, because the last thing you want is, if it's a family member or a friend, you don't want the ownership of this property to come between you and your family member's relationship, or you and the relationship with a friend. So the more that you can plan ahead at the very beginning and come to an agreement with everyone on these things, the much easier this path will be for all of you. The final tip that I will share is, please consult with a legal professional. You will have someone like myself, a realtor, involved. You'll have a lender involved more than likely. But aside from that, make sure that you consult with some type of real estate attorney, because there are different pieces of this in regarding ownership and percentages of this versus that are involved, that are typically not involved if you have, a single owner or a husband and wife owner of a property. So spend a little money to hire some type of real estate attorney or legal professional so that you can have certain pieces of this agreement in writing and documented, so that you all have, so there are no surprises that pop up down the road, and everyone can be in agreement on all parts of the transaction, and then how things will work with ownership of the property moving forward after you guys close. Before you jump off my channel, take a look at another video that I've published here where I talk about that down payment for your property. How do you come up with it? How much should you put down? Those are all valid questions that I help to answer in this video, so check that one out next. As the market changes and things evolve in life, sometimes you have to think about a topic such as home ownership in an unorthodox manner, and that's what we have done here. So if you're thinking about purchasing a home with a family member or a friend, I hope this video has helped you out. I hope that it has helped you to really think through, hey, I need to make sure that I square away this and that and this before we jump into this agreement on joint ownership of a property. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.